Hey, good morning everyone. Dr. Shook here. Hope you're doing well. As you can see, I'm in the sauna this morning. My schedule's just a little bit different today, and I wanted to share a quick video with you guys. So one of the things I'm trying to do is give you guys short videos each day. And I don't have a ton of time today, but I want to talk about a very important topic. And I'm kind of starting with a lot of the basics. That's what I want to do in this video. These videos that I'm going to do over the next month or so, is I really want to cover some basics so that you guys can understand better some of the problems that I commonly see when I'm working with people one-on-one, and that you can do to help yourself. Hey Lucy. So here's what I want to talk about today, and this is digestive tract health and function. And the main thing here is to know that the father of medicine, Hippocrates, and you guys have probably seen this quote somewhere, right? That disease begins in the gut, basically. And I don't disagree with that. I do agree that there are a lot of ways that disease begins, but the gut is a very common way, and especially when we're talking about autoimmunity. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about is the importance of the gut. Now I'm going to go into, I've got some ideas, but over the next few days, because I don't have enough time here, I'm going to talk about some of the connections between the gut and the thyroid. But I'm going to talk today about, I want to explain this concept of intestinal permeability and leaky gut. And then I want you to understand your immune system, the localized immune system of the gut, and how important it is. What we want to talk about is basically leaky gut. And leaky gut and intestinal permeability they're the same thing. Okay, so they mean the same thing. We just hear leaky gut is what we use when we're talking about it to the layperson or someone that doesn't know the terminology, and that's okay, right? The term intestinal permeability is what you're going to find more in scientific literature. Okay, so if you're looking for articles on intestinal permeability and you want to do some research on it, that's what I would go to pubmed.gov, pubmed.gov, and you can just put in intestinal permeability and you'll find all kinds of articles on it. Okay, and those are research paper abstracts. PubMed is a research clearinghouse. So anyway, the gut is so important for the thyroid and for autoimmunity because the gut wall is a barrier system, okay? Your body has several barriers that keep things out of the bloodstream that shouldn't be there, okay? So you have your skin, you have your digestive tract wall. So what we talk about, we're going to talk about here is the gut wall. You also have your blood-brain barrier, keeps things in the bloodstream out of the brain. You have let's see, the gut, you have your lung, the lung barrier. These are all barrier systems that keep things away from the immune system so that it's not stimulated when it shouldn't be. So when your digestive tract wall breaks down and it becomes leaky or permeable, it exposes you to things like partially digested food proteins, lipopolysaccharides, which LPSs are these endotoxins. So they're part of bacteria or bacterial cell walls. And when bacteria die in your gut, so if you have like a bacterial infection in your gut and the bacteria are dying, they spill these lipopolysaccharides into your intestinal tract, and that can, if your digestive tract wall is permeable, they can leak into the bloodstream and stimulate a very strong immune response. So the barrier systems need to be intact so that the immune system can function normally and not be chronically stimulated or stimulated consistently over a long period of time, which is not what we want. We want the immune system to function as it needs to, and when you have leaky gut or you have this breakdown of the GI tract wall, that opens it up so that the immune system, which is in the bloodstream on the other side of the GI tract wall, can start to be exposed to things that will stimulate it and perpetuate an immune response or drive an immune response and could make autoimmunity worse. So this is a really, really important concept that you guys need to understand. Sometimes people, when we talk about diets, right, we talk about, well, what can I do? People ask me, what can I do to try and help my autoimmunity or my Hashimoto's or my Graves or my thyroid. And, you know, in general, a great place to start for most people is going to be, if you don't already have a really clean and healthy diet, that's going to be a great place to start, because it has so many different impacts on your body's chemistry, and it can really so it looks like I have a weak connection, guys. Sorry about that. Yeah, this is going to be I see that Madge, you can't hear it, so I guess I have a pretty bad connection, as goes the sauna session here. Sorry guys, this is an important topic too. We'll see if it doesn't come out very well. I'll try to summarize it and record it, publish it, you know, do a live broadcast, maybe later today. I had to do this one other day, so I'm just kind of learning about these different locations in my house and around where I can get a decent signal. You can hear, okay, thanks Angela. Okay, doing better, Rose. Okay, it's an intermittent thing, so hopefully it continues to, you guys get a good signal. So anyway, digestive tract health is very important. The integrity, so your GI tract wall, we want to maintain that wall and keep it healthy so that the things that are supposed to be in the GI tract stay there and don't get into the bloodstream and trigger an immune response. Okay, that's number one generalized concept. If you have foods that are causing inflammation in the gut, if you have infections that are causing inflammation in the gut, if you're autoimmune and you have like an inflammatory bowel condition, if you have Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, celiac disease, these are all things where the immune system's literally attacking the gut wall and breaking it down. And these are, you know, it's a very important barrier that keeps things inside the GI tract that should be there, and keeps them out of the bloodstream so that they don't stimulate an immune response. Okay, that's a really important concept. That's one of the reasons that, you know, if you haven't tried anything yet, dietary approaches and a diet approach is going to be a reasonable place to consider starting. Okay, I'm just going to say that. Now, your immune system, you have, I don't know if you guys have heard this, but the majority of your immune system is in your GI tract. Did you know that? And what it actually is that localized immune system is this part of your physiology called the gut-associated lymphoid tissue. So lymph tissue. So you know you have a lymphatic system, which helps to it helps. It's kind of like this. It's kind of like the cross between your circulatory and your immune system. It samples the lymph nodes and the immune cells. They work there, and it helps your body to differentiate the invaders or not. So anyway, in your GI tract is the gut-associated lymphoid tissue. We also call it GALT, for an acronym, GALT. Now, if you want to Google something, or you want to go to PubMed, and PubMed, which I mentioned earlier, which is a research database, you can put in gut-associated lymphoid tissue, and you'll find a lot of research about it. It might not be applicable to what's going on with you, but anyway, that's where the majority of your immune system is. It's in your digestive tract. So if you have the circumstance where you have leaky gut, you have this intestinal permeability, and let's say that's due to food proteins. Let's say there's a yeast overgrowth, or there's a bacterial infection, or you have autoimmunity to your gut. Then the gut wall, let's say it's permeable, it's leaky, and everything that you eat is basically, as it's breaking down, is leaking into the bloodstream. And let's say that as some of the bacteria, let's say you have a bacterial infection in your gut, that the bacteria, as they die, they spill their contents, these things called lipopolysaccharides, or LPSs, into the small intestine, and that leaks through the small intestinal wall into the bloodstream. And that all triggers an immune response. And because you have this huge amount of immune system, the immune system is located in the gut, because so much of it's located there in this gut-associated lymphoid tissue, the GALT, you end up having a very strong immune response, and it can create a lot of problems. So I see my connection's weak, guys. Hopefully you can hear me, but it's giving me a little warning. Okay, hopefully my connection's better. I'm trying to be observant of problems with the connection. Thanks, Doreen. Thank you, Lynn. I appreciate the feedback on letting me know. Just let me know if you can, if you see it get really grainy, or if you can't hear me. The main thing I want to kind of teach you guys today is just this issue, this concept of intestinal permeability, leaky gut, the importance of it in autoimmunity and thyroid function, and that most of your immune system is there in the gut, in this gut-associated lymphoid tissue, and that if you can address and you can start to remove some of the things that are causing GI tract barrier inflammation or breakdown, or the things that are causing leaky gut, so you can start with diet in a lot of cases, then you can oftentimes start to dampen and decrease the immune response. It's a wonderful way to begin trying to help yourself, okay, in a lot of cases. And again, I can't give you guys exact advice because I don't know your particular cases, and I'm just trying to give you guys concepts and places you can start, right? So if you can remove those irritants and those things that are breaking down the gut wall. And keep this in mind, this was when I learned this, I was kind of like, it was like an aha moment almost. You think about your GI tract and you think, well, it's this thick tissue, right? It breaks down, and you're thinking, in my head, I'm envisioning this thick barrier between the stuff that's inside my small intestine and the stuff and the blood and the vessels on the other side of the wall. I'm envisioning a wall, right? I'm envisioning a thick wall. But the reality is that this wall between the food and the stuff that's in your gut, the bacteria, and the bloodstream is one cell thick. Think about that. It's a cell, which you can't even see with the naked eye. It's one cell thick. So it's a cell wall that lines the inside of the small intestine. And on the other side, you've got all these vessels. You've got all this lymphatic tissue, right? I just mentioned the gut-associated lymphoid tissue, which is where the immune system is located in the gut, which is the majority of the immune system in the body. And this barrier is only one cell wall thick, right? So if it breaks down and things start to leak into the bloodstream, it can trigger a very strong immune response. So when we're talking about these issues with like leaky gut, you want to start typically, and I'm going to say this, in most cases, you want to start with dietary changes to try to help yourself. Now, that's a place if you're new to this, if you want to try some trial and error, that's not an unreasonable place to start with diet. Okay, I'm going to tell you that. If you want to dig and try to figure things out the best that you can, then you're going to have to do testing to investigate what's going on. But testing can save you some time, but it's absolutely reasonable to start with diet in a lot of cases. So you can start with diet. One of the diets that I'm an advocate of is going to be the autoimmune paleo diet. It's AIP. We've created a program, 6-week Hashimoto's transformation program, which is a program that incorporates AIP-esque dietary plan, but we also give you diet and lifestyle and guide you on supplementation. There's a lot of stuff that we try to do, but you don't have to do that at all. You can just do the AIP diet. You can consider doing the AIP diet. It's very reasonable to do that, and it's something that could help you, completely free. I mean, you should be able to find resources on it that's very accessible to you. So removing food proteins can help stop that inflammatory response. One of the things we find whenever I do testing, and I do like food sensitivity testing, is that people are reacting to the foods that they commonly eat. And a lot of people, they get to a point where they're like, I can't eat this food, I can't eat several foods because when I eat them, I have a response to it. That's not good, because what it tells you is that you're losing. See, the connection's weak again. It's so frustrating. Hopefully it picks back up here. But I'm going to keep talking, guys. I'm probably pretty grainy right now. It just says my connection's weak. Okay, it looks better. So these food sensitivities, people are typically reacting to the foods that they're eating most commonly. So it's important to have diversity in your diet. But if you try to, when people say, I can't eat anything but these limited number of foods, that's not a good sign. That's definitely a sign that you need probably to have some investigation of the GI tract. So through probably like a stool panel or something, or a blood test that looks at a lot of bacteria, parasites, and different types of fungi that you can find, that we commonly find in the gut. Because if you have chronic infections of the GI tract, you are going to, you're a lot more likely to have leaky gut and intestinal permeability. And a lot of these infections can be completely asymptomatic, completely. Like you have no symptoms of GI problems. You're like, oh, I'm normal, man. I have my digestive tract's fine. We've done stool tests, and we find them routinely where you have bacterial infections, yeast infections of the gut, and you're not even aware of it because it's not symptomatic. So, hey, Angela. Thanks, Doreen. I came back, didn't I? Yeah, I know it's just not a great signal, unfortunately. I'll have to figure out a different way to do this, I guess. But leaky gut, I just wanted to kind of tell you guys and give you some ideas on leaky gut, intestinal permeability. I wanted to talk to you about how delicate the GI tract barrier is. It's only one cell wall thick, the GI tract barrier. So the barrier between the stuff in your intestines and your bloodstream and your immune system, that's on the other side of the gut wall, which is the gut-associated lymphoid tissue, GALT. Okay, it's the part of the lymphatic system, and that's where the immune system cells are hanging out, ready to attack anything that comes through the GI tract barrier into the bloodstream. I wanted to share that with you guys. It's very delicate. There are a lot of things that can cause imbalance there. The main things that I've talked about are bacteria in the gut, yeast overgrowth in the gut, parasites in the digestive tract, food sensitivities, food reactivity, so certain foods can cause inflammation there through basically an immune process. And those are the most common. Now, there's other things that cause leaky gut, guys. I mean, there definitely are. And one of the most common that we'll see is cortisol. So the stress hormone cortisol. Cortisol goes up. If cortisol elevates and increases, what it tends to do is impairs or decreases the ability of that one cell wall thick barrier, right? The lining of the small intestine or the intestinal tract to repair and regenerate. And that's really, really important. Bacterial imbalances, not necessarily infections, are also relevant and important here. So, good places to start for a lot of people if you haven't tried anything is going to be diet. Now, if you've tried diet and you don't do well with that, guys, you're going to need some more investigation to figure it out. It's just all there is to it. There's just no other way that I know to give you any information to help you figure it out further. But diet's a good place to start. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's really that I have that I want to share with you guys this morning. But that's a huge thing. Hey, Samantha, probiotics, will they help this at all? Here's the thing. Like, I don't recommend probiotics a lot. I mean, I will recommend them within the first, 1 to 2 months in some cases. But your gut bacteria is going to be most affected by what you eat. So if you're eating a diet that's higher in like leafy greens, for example, it's a great source of this indigestible, this non-soluble fibers, it's going to feed and change the gut bacterial balance. So that's really, that's the key. You can use probiotics, but probiotics don't tend to colonize the GI tract, at least from what I've seen and how I understand it. The probiotics you take orally don't tend to colonize the gut. Your diet will make the biggest impact. So I see my connections weak again. I guess I'm going to have to get a larger router so that it reaches down here if I plan on doing this anymore. But I don't want to have a larger router. Hey guys, my connection's weak. I don't want to get a different router. You guys familiar with like networking a little bit? You get this router and it broadcasts this huge magnetic field into your house, this plume of magnetic field, which we really don't understand completely what it does to us. Probably not good. I don't want to get a bigger one. I don't want to get a bigger router so that this signal's better. So I got to figure out a different way to do it. Actually, I don't want to sound like, well, let's leave that alone. The EMF thing is not good. So Samantha, I hope that helps. Hey Susie, L-glutamine is reasonable for some people to take. Whenever I'm working with someone, I will sometimes recommend that in a combination with dietary changes, that they consider L-glutamine, maybe zinc carnosine as well, which they work together. But that's not something, you shouldn't have to do any of these things like long term. Like typically you're not going to have to do this over 6 months to a year. I would say 25% of the people that I work with approximately are going to they're going to feel better within 3 months. They're going to have significant improvement in 3 months, like really significant improvement, and they won't need any more guidance. About 50% of people are going to need to go about 6 months, and then about the additional 25%, they're going to need to go 1 year to 18 months or longer. And you know, the reality is that people that I work with too, some people, some people do not get better. They do not get better. And there's a lot of factors that, well, oftentimes we can't figure out why, right? If I could figure out why you're not getting better, I would be able to help you get better, right? There's a lot of limitations, right? If every single person I saw could do every test under the sun and get everything done that I could imagine, I think we'd have the best chance. But that's not practical for a lot of people, and I understand that limitation. So we try our best to teach you this kind of stuff and give you everything that we can every time we interact with someone to, like, okay, look, here's what might help you the best. These are things you need to consider if you haven't. So glutamine is a reasonable supplement, though, for a lot of people. Hey, Rachel. You guys, yeah, we get a lot of questions. A lot of people don't know this because we don't like say it every time we talk to someone, or we don't put this out there. I don't think that frequently, but a lot of people don't realize that I do distance consulting with people around the US and internationally. So we talk via phone or Skype or FaceTime. If you need to have labs done near you, then in most states we get that done. We just send you an order form and you take it to the local lab. When we get the result back, we have a follow-up appointment where we review everything and we try to put together a plan that makes sense based on your history and your labs. And so we do that with, people around the country and internationally. So if you guys are like really struggling and you want an opinion, you might want to consider that. I mean, I do offer, I don't know if you guys know this, but I do offer right now, we're kind of inundated with them, but we do offer free 15-minute phone consultations. So if you're like, okay, I'm considering, like, I might want to work with you and try to work on this, but I kind of want to talk to you and see if my case is reasonable, and if you think it's something that we should try, or if there's something else I should do, you can go to our website, and I'm sure one of my staff will help you guys out too. They can post something in the comments, but you can go to our website, which is drbradshook.com. It's just Brad Shook. So it's DRB. Hey guys, Dr. Shook, thank you for viewing our videos. I hope they help you out. If you want to, just subscribe to our channel somewhere here. You can watch a video that YouTube's actually selected for you, so hopefully it'll help you out. If you need any other information or resources, just look in the description. We've got links to our website, to our 9 lab test guidebook, and everything else that we do. I really appreciate you, and I hope you guys have a great